We have about 800 attendees for this particular event. So let me ask for a show of hands, people, right? So how many of you significantly invest in digital marketing related activities for your business in order to, let's say, gain leads or promote your business in the digital space? Show of hands, people. How many of you invest significantly in digital marketing like Google ads or Facebook ads or even creating content on different platforms? Yeah? Okay, all right. So I see only a very few set of hands go up. Okay, all right. So in today's session, what we are going to do is, people, so we are going to be focusing on how, as a brand that is on a budget, right? So a lot of brands, a lot of startups may not have crores of budget to spend into your marketing activities, right? And if you are one such brand, how can you use digital tools, digital technologies? Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Thank you. Okay, so how can you use digital tools, digital technologies in order to grow your business is what we are going to be largely focusing on, right? So with that, maybe we'll just look at the organizations which hold the top market capitalization in the world, people, right? So if I ask you to name a few companies in the world, the ones that have high market cap, what would they be? Yeah, let me hear from you guys. Yeah? Companies that have leading market cap in the world. Yes, people? So what company comes to your mind when we talk about market cap? Nvidia, yes, absolutely. Apple, absolutely. Which other companies? Yeah? All of you are forgetting Google. You're also forgetting Meta, right? So Meta, Google, Apple, Microsoft, of course now Nvidia. So these are the companies that have very high market cap, right? And if we closely look at these companies, and if we were to ask a question on why were they able to grow, right? So a few answers comes to us, right? And if you look at the timeline that these companies have taken to exponentially grow into, hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap, it is much, much limited, right? So it's much, much limited. So if you look at the data from 2007, the world's leading company in terms of market cap was ExxonMobil, right? So it was an oil company. And if you look at the top 10 oil companies, we actually had about 6 companies which were just oil companies, right? And then 10 years later, in 2018 January, if you look at the data, the top 10 companies, if you look at it, 6 of them were actually digital companies, people, right? So 6 of them were digital companies. We have Google, we have Microsoft, we have Meta, we have a few other digital companies that have exponentially scaled and grown and have made to the top 10 in terms of market capitalization. And the reason why they were able to scale was because all of these were asset-light companies. Right? So asset-light companies, they created a variety of platforms which facilitated a lot of people, a lot of businesses to use, which were completely asset-light. So when you have an asset-light company, what happens is for you to operate geographically and scale is something that is very easy. You don't need a physical presence in order to enter a new country altogether. Right? And another thing, if you look at these particular businesses which are in the top 10, the digital ones, so when they came into existence, legal frameworks were not in place. Political business that has significant digital investments, you would typically be able to scale much, much faster. Right? You would typically be able to scale much, much faster because your asset-light component can scale across geographies very easily. And if you look at the solutions that a Google or a Meta or an Amazon has created, right? So this enables a lot of other businesses to actually use their products in order to flourish. So a lot of you may have some sort of presence in different social media platforms like a Facebook or an Instagram. Some of you may be using Google Ads. Some of you did say that you're using Google Ads. Some of you may have your products listed on platforms like Amazon or a Flipkart in order to reach the wider audience. So all these companies have created opportunities for smaller businesses to actually leverage on without spending significant amount of money in order to grow. Right? So a few of you, maybe 5% of you have been using Google ads or Facebook ads, paid advertising per se, right? So paid advertising, of course, the previous speaker was talking about engaging with the digital agencies in order to take your product to your customers. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that, right? So even if you have a budget, that's 100 rupees every day. Every single day you have 100 rupees budget for marketing. You can very well use platforms like Google Ads or a Meta Ads or a LinkedIn Ads, etc. in order to gain leads. So in today's session, once the laptop is connected, what we would do is we look at certain platforms, right? So we look at certain platforms and how to use these platforms, advantages of these platforms, and how your business can actually leverage on these platforms in order to grow exponentially, just like how a Google did or a Facebook did, etc. Right? So that's what we are going to largely focus on in this session. Okay. All right. So while the laptop is getting connected, let me also give you an overview of the digital landscape as a whole, people. Right? So let's take the digital landscape. So a brand engages with their customers on the digital landscape. You have a variety of components, right? Of course, the first component, we do have paid ads, right? So you have platforms like Google Ads, you have platforms like Meta, LinkedIn Ads, InMobi, and a variety of different paid advertising platforms, right? And when we talk about paid advertising platforms, we typically have an opportunity to precisely target our customers. Right? So to precisely target our customers, for example, someone in the previous session was talking about having a music academy. Right? So you have a music academy and you want to reach out to the audience who are interested in learning a music course. Right? So people who are interested in learning a music course. And what happens is an individual who's interested in learning music will probably go to Google and have searched for music courses, would have probably bought a musical instrument, would have probably gone to YouTube in order to search for music learning videos. Right? So now what happens is the intent of this individual was searched for a music course is recorded and it's available on a Google Ads database. Right? So Google Ads, if you go to Google Ads, you will see that a variety of targeting options are available. Right? So it's things that are as precise as an individual who's interested in music. Right? An individual who wants to buy real estate, an individual who wants to buy a car, an individual who's interested in learning a particular course, right? So it could be as precise as the core customer for your particular business, right? So you can simply identify a group that is of relevance and you can target and personalize communication to all these individuals via an ad network platform. Right? So if you go for Google, of course, you'll essentially have to rely on search, display ads. You also have performance max ads, you have video ads. So all of this is very much integrated onto a platform like Google. Likewise, if you go for a platform like Meta, right? So you can very well place your advertisements on the Meta platform itself. Right? So you would see that on Meta, whenever you're browsing on Meta, you would have probably seen advertisements as a consumer. So imagine as a brand, you reaching out to consumers via a Meta platform, right? So that's something that you can certainly do. Again, when we go for paid ads, the advantage we have is the precise level of targeting, right? So it's not like we are using an Instagram, we are posting content, it goes to all sorts of people. Maybe a few of them will contact your business. But then the objective of paid ads is that you have precision with respect to targeting your customers, right? So precision as good as an individual interested directly in the product that you're selling, right? So it could be a good or it could be a service that you're selling. Both of that comes under the product umbrella, but you'll be able to precisely identify an individual who would probably transact with your business, right? So that's with paid ads. And then, of course, organic social media content also becomes a significant strategy for brands. So you'll need to build a following for your brand on social media platforms like Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. But more importantly, you need to select a platform where your audience is, right? So different platforms have different characteristics. So if you take a platform like Facebook, typically a lot of elder audiences are present on Facebook. You take a platform like Instagram, you have a lot more younger audiences on Instagram. On both these platforms, women dominate men. Likewise, if you take a platform like Twitter, The number of men users are much, much higher, has more or less an even distribution across age groups. So likewise, if you take LinkedIn, if you are into, let's say, some B2B products, you want to connect with different businesses, then LinkedIn becomes a significant platform for you to run your business, right? So likewise, you need to select a platform which is your primary platform. Of course, you need to have presence across different platforms, but nonetheless, you will need to prioritize a platform as your primary platform depending on where your audience is. That's with respect to the content strategy. And then what happens is, again, coming back to the digital landscape, we also have CRM tools. The previous speaker also talked about different CRM tools like Salesforce, Zoho, and a variety of other CRM platforms. So on your CRM tools, what happens is all your leads are registered, right? And when you integrate your leads with your digital strategy, what happens is you can actually reach out to your leads not just via phone calls, not just via emails, but via display ads as well, right? So Google Ads can very well integrate with a CRM platform so that it is not just you via your phone calls or via WhatsApp or via email you're interacting with them, but then when they are browsing across the internet, so imagine everywhere they go on the internet, they would actually be able to see ads associated with your brand. Then what happens is creating a connect with that audience becomes much, much easier, right? So integrating your CRM platforms also becomes significant. So another aspect on the digital landscape is that there is something called conversational marketing, right? There's something called conversational marketing, and on the platforms that you're present in, you need to engage your audience, right? So you need to engage your audience. So typically what happens is a lot of your audience will probably have some sort of social activity, right? So social media activity. Maybe you are hosting some events, you are having some giveaways, you are making some posts onto your social media pages. A lot of people comment, a lot of people actually respond. So the fundamental aspect of this is that as a business, you'll have to respond back so that you try and connect with your audience better, right? But then what you can also do is using the same platforms that you are on. So let's say that you've made a post, some 100 people have commented on that post. And those people are typically the ones that are interested in your business, right? So these people who have commented on your post, it's not that you need to manually have interactions with them, but what you can also do is you can channelize all of this data to a platform like Google Ads or a Facebook Ads for that matter, and you can send ads to them which are paid ads, right? So an individual who has commented on your posts or liked your posts, etc., starts seeing a variety of different advertisements on different platforms, not just on Facebook, but also all over the internet, right? So thereby what happens is creating a connect becomes much, much easier, right? So likewise, search engine optimization is also something that's important, right? So when a customer is interested in products that you're selling, they would typically go to Google and search for it, right? And when they are searching for these products, then what happens is you will need to essentially be the first few search results. 96% of the clicks on the internet on Google actually is attributed to the first 3 search results, right? So as a business, once your consumers are interested in your product, they would search for it on the internet. Investing in search engine optimization actually helps in order to organically get traffic associated with your business. And at the same time, if you're a new business, what happens is listing yourself higher on the Google search engine result page is very difficult. Because Google search engine, the algorithms, what they do is they look at a particular term called as the domain authority, which you can build over time. So for a new business, it will be very difficult for you to rank higher on Google search engine result page. So hence, for a new business, again, coming back to paid ads, right? So you will have to identify typical keywords that your customers search for when they're searching on Google. And then what happens is you would actually be able to, paid ads can be displayed for such search terms for your business, right? So that's something that you can certainly do. And of course, now information search has transitioned. So back in those days, we used to go to Google and search for information, but then now we go to a ChatGPT or a Gemini and look for information. So now OpenAI is considering an advertisement-based platform rather than a subscription-based platform, right? So that's something OpenAI is actually considering. And hence, what could happen is, even when your customer goes to an OpenAI a ChatGPT or a Gemini or a Cloud or a Perplexity, models are being considered where advertisements would be placed, right? So when we talk about the digital landscape, everything is connected, right? So you have social media, you have paid advertisements, you have your CRM databases, you have your mobile application, you have your website. So all of these should not operate in bits and pieces, right? Should not operate in bits and pieces. So you'll have to create a strategy where the data across all your digital presence can be channelized to one particular area, and you on an ad network platform like a Google Ads or a Facebook. And then what happens is you can actually reach back to the audience using a variety of paid advertising mediums. Right? So again, when we say paid advertising, it's not very costly, people. Even if you're a brand that has ₹100 budget every day, you can still go to paid advertising platforms like Google or Meta or any other platform that's out there. Right? So that's one. Another is, so that's the overall digital landscape, people. And then on top of this digital landscape, we also have content that forms the core of your digital strategy. Right? So content has to be created in such a way that your customers are able to resonate with you. Right? So the previous speaker also talked about ideal customer profiles. He also talked about asking questions to your customers at the initial stage, qualifying sales qualified leads, etc. So now when you create an ideal customer profile, what happens is you need to communicate to that ideal customer profile, right? So you need to understand their pain points, you need to understand their objectives, you need to understand their habits, their behavior, their interests. All of this needs to be mapped towards an ideal customer profile. And you keep this ideal customer profile as the center, and you create content around this customer profile that you've created. So your ideal customer profile should be able to resonate with the content that you're creating. And this content should be across platforms, right? So not just on, let's say, social media platforms like Facebook or Instagram, but also writing case studies or creating videos, blogs. Integrating all this content together actually helps quite a bit for brands to grow, because when you integrate content together, what happens is it helps with your search engine rankings in the long run, helps in building domain authority, right? So that's something that you need to also work on. And there is a 70-20-10 principle with respect to content, people, right? So there is a 70-20-10 principle with respect to content. So 70% of your content has to be informational, right? So 70% of your content has to be informational, where you're essentially talking about the problem that your product or your service is trying to solve. So that's one thing that you need to start with. 20% of the content should focus on creating an emotional connect with your audience, right? So 20% of your content should focus on creating an emotional connect with your audience. That's very important. And the remaining 10% of the content only should be focused on selling your products to your customers, right? So when you're posting content on social platforms, these are the things that you need to focus on. The 70-20-10 principle. 70% of the content spreads information associated with your goods and services. 20% focuses on creating an emotional connect with your audience. The remaining 10% only focuses on direct selling of your products, right? So that's something that you will need to focus on, right? So with that, let me quickly go to my PPT. All right, great. Okay, so the previous speaker, so I'm just going to skip a few slides which we talked about some time ago, the digital landscape, etc. Okay, so the previous speaker actually talked about this AIDA funnel: attention, interest, desire, and action, right? So now when it comes to the digital efforts that you're taking for your brand, you need to have digital activities across each of these stages. Right? So you need to have digital activities at the attention stage, activities at the interest stage, desire stage, action stage, and there is one more stage below the action stage. It's called as the advocacy stage, right? So advocacy is on how you make your existing customers come back to you, and at the same time referring for newer customers, right? So if we were to map different digital activities and platforms on this AIDA funnel, this is how it would look like. So typically certain platforms have been proven to be effective at the awareness stage, few at the interest stage, few at desire, few at action and advocacy. So display ads YouTube ads and social media ads have been proven to be very effective at the top of the funnel, awareness stage, right? And then once people are aware of your brand, what they do is they typically search for more information associated with your brand and the products associated with your brand. And that's where aspects like your online PR, having influencer collaborations, testimonials, payback period calculations which are published, case studies, etc., actually helps in the middle of the funnel where the intent is actually strengthened. And typically what happens is here, platforms like search advertising, influencer marketing, blogs, case study publication houses, all of this actually helps quite a bit in the middle of the funnel. And then bottom of the funnel, so once your customers have a strong interest to transact with your business, what happens is they will essentially want to come and buy your products and services, so you need to have digital presence for that as well. So if you're selling goods, so e-commerce websites or aggregator websites, etc., can actually be considered. If you're selling services, again, you can either sell services directly from your website, or also for services you have aggregator websites as well. So that comes at the action stage. You need to have a digital outlet where your customers will be able to actually buy your products, goods and services. And then comes advocacy stage, where you are essentially asking your customers to talk about their experience, right? So writing reviews, feedback, etc., is something that is very important. And then what happens is, this feedback of your existing customers can actually be again fed back to the middle of the funnel at the interest and the desire stage, right? So for newer customers to actually come back to your business. So typically digital marketing activities across these stages of the funnel are mapped here. But nonetheless, you'll also have to consider the possibility that certain platforms can actually be used across the funnel. Like for example, display ads can be used for something called as remarketing. So some time ago, I was talking about the digital landscape, how you can channelize data from your website, your mobile application, your social media pages. All of that can be retargeted, and you can actually use paid advertising for that. So you can actually use display advertising from the top of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel, provided you have a data strategy that is backing you, right? So that's something that you can do. Likewise, search can also be used from the top of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel, whereas all the other methods are typically effective at the corresponding sections that they are mapped onto. What is even more important is to assess the effectiveness of each of the stages of the funnel. Right? So we need metrics with which we would assess how the top of the funnel is performing, how the middle of the funnel is performing, bottom of the funnel is performing. And that's where matrices like this can help, right? So at the top of the funnel, we typically focus on matrices like impressions, your cost per mile, your cost per clicks, your brand search volumes, ad frequency, video views, etc. So those are some matrices which can help you in assessing the effectiveness of the top of the funnel. And then of course for the middle of the funnel, we have click-through rates, engagement rates, bounce rates, right? So we also look at number of people who have added your product to the cart in case you are on e-commerce websites, number of people who have requested for a demo in case you are into B2B services, let us say, a number of people who have signed up for email newsletters. So all these are some matrices which helps us assess the middle of the funnel. Of course, for the bottom, we have conversion rates, number of conversions, your acquisition costs, etc. For the advocacy, we typically look at a variety of metrics, out of which one is very important, which is called as the customer lifetime value. Right? So customer lifetime value is important. See, we should not focus on just acquiring customers for a one-time transaction, right? But rather, what we need to focus on is the lifetime relationship that we will have with our customer. It's not a one-time transaction that's happening, but multiple transactions. Customers come back to you, right? So for multiple periods of time, they would come back to you. So we typically assess the effectiveness of the bottom of the funnel using the customer lifetime value. Right? So in case you're not focusing on these matrices and you want to go ahead with some digital activities in order to grow your business, so these are the matrices that you should start tracking, and you need to build mechanisms for tracking these mechanisms. Okay, and then comes another framework which talks about not just paid media, right, but a digital strategy, a comprehensive digital strategy actually lies in the center of these three media vectors: paid media, owned media, and earned media. right? A comprehensive digital strategy will always be at this intersection. Of course, when we talk about paid media, you do have your paid advertisements, you have display ads, search ads, remarketing, you also have affiliate marketing, paid influencer collaborations, social media ads. So all of this comes under the paid media bucket. But that's not enough. That's not enough. So that's where owned media actually comes in, where you have complete control over what you're posting onto your digital outlets. Your website, your social channels, search engine results, image marketing. So all of this is your owned media, where we have complete control over the content that is placed on these outlets. And then there is also earned media. See, earned media is something that we earn, meaning that we can't control the polarity associated with this media. Right? So we don't know if it will go positive or negative, but you do have a variety of earned media outlets which we can strategize to achieve. Like for example, digital PR or people posting reviews associated with products and services, and the number of social mentions you get on different platforms. So all of this can come under the earned media bucket. So your strategy should not just focus on paid media. It should not just focus on owned media or earned media for that matter. It's the intersection of all of this that matters. You need to have activities which focuses on all these media elements. So when we talk about paid ads, we've talked about paid ads quite a bit, but then these are the main channels associated with paid ads. You have search ads, social media ads. You typically go to Meta, LinkedIn. India, there is no TikTok, but you have a variety of other local platforms for short videos. So for display ads, that's another channel. If you're a big brand that has about $100,000 budget every single day, you can go for something called programmatic advertising. There's a platform called DV360. So that's something that you can go into, but does not seem to be practical for smaller brands. Smaller brands can go for the other channels. You also have shopping ads, native ads. So you have a variety of targeting options: interest-based targeting, behavior-based targeting, demographic targeting, keyword-based targeting. So look-like audience is something that's very interesting. So let us say that you're a brand that has, let's say, existed for a year or so. You've understood who your ideal customer profile is. Let's say that you have the first 100 customers with you, right? So you have the first 100 customers with you, and you want to move from 100 customers to 10,000 customers, 10,000 customers to 1,000,000 customers, 1,000,000 customers to 10 million customers, right? So it's so easy after you get the first 100 customers, right? So you channelize the details associated with your first 100 customers onto a platform like Google Ads or Facebook, and this audience will have certain similarity with respect to their interests, with respect to their behavior, with respect to demographies. You don't need to know all of this, right? So a platform like a Google is more than capable of identifying an audience that matches the characteristics of your first 100 customers. You simply need to create a campaign, a performance-oriented campaign, which you will need to fund, and platforms like a Google or a Facebook will be able to bring similar audiences which match your first 100 customers, and hence these audiences would come to your platforms or your website, mobile application, etc. will be able to convert better. Your conversions rate will be much, much higher as compared to blindly targeting different groups of audience for that matter, right? So it's so easy for you to go from 100 customers to 1,000 customers to 100,000 customers to 1,000,000 customers to 10 million. The first 100 is where you will really need to struggle to get. And of course, see, when we talk about ad networks, which ad networks should you go to? So for search ads, you have Google ads, you have Microsoft ads where the ads are placed on Bing, but 96% of the Google search on the internet actually happens on Google, and hence Google ads is sufficient for search ads. For social media, you have different platforms, display as well. Likewise, yeah, so specialized networks are also there. And then for programmatic, you have a few platforms which you can explore in case you guys want to, in case you grow to a big brand that can spend about 100,000 on advertising every day. Yeah. So when we talk about content, people, the content strategy would look something like this, where you have a pillar content and then around it you can have different clusters, and more importantly you have to interlink all this content together. So this interlinking helps people to actually go between a variety of content that you're publishing, and at the same time in the long run it helps with your search engine rankings. So you are sort of like a hub where you integrate all this content together. You may have case studies, webinars, some infographics that you're publishing, press releases, newsletter, you are having some email marketing, etc. So all of this has to be integrated in one place, right? So that's something that's very important. And of course, we talked about the 70-20-10 rule: 70% informational content, 20% emotional content in order to create an emotional connect with your audience, and 10% only will directly promote your products and services. And then people comes measurement. So we saw a variety of metrics associated with measurement some time ago. But then when it comes to tools which you will need to use to measure, these are the tools that you need to focus on. When it comes to website, you can focus on tools like Google Analytics or Adobe Analytics. When it comes to paid media, the corresponding ad networks themselves have measurement tools. For social media, you have Meta Insights, YouTube Studio, etc. For SEO, SEMrush is a tool that's recommended. For email, of course, you have MailChimp, HubSpot, etc. For customer experience analysis, you can largely leverage on surveys here, people. Platforms like SurveyMonkey, Qualtrics, all of this help. And for dashboards and visualizations, you can certainly use platforms like Tableau or Power BI. So that's the comprehensive set of measurement tools that you will typically need to focus on. Okay, so one conversation that's happening in the current day of age is that a lot of AI related integration is happening on different businesses. You may be into goods, you may be into services, but AI is really a big thing. And AI could be a solution for the middle of your funnel, right? So you attract people from the top of the funnel, and then you have to strengthen the intent of an individual to purchase from you. And in order to strengthen the middle of the funnel, this directly relates to engagement related metrics, amount of time people spend with your digital assets. And that's where AI could be a solution to strengthen the intent associated with the middle of the funnel, right? So now what we're going to do is, we will see on how we can include AI and automation as a part of your digital journey as well. So quick question again, so we have some audience here. So how many have already implemented AI related solutions or considering AI related solutions for your product? Yeah? Any of you? Yes, okay, so we have one. Okay, we have a few people who are considering AI and automation related aspects. So now let me ask another question. So how many of you think that AI is very hard to integrate with your business? Yeah? Only one? Is it easy for everyone? Okay, a few of you. Okay, see, so one that typically comes into the business owners is that AI is very difficult for us to integrate with our business. But the opposite is actually true, people. In the last couple of years with the generative AI, what has happened is it's so easy for us to actually integrate AI as a part of our businesses. You do not need to know programming. You do not need to know coding. You do not need a technical team in order to integrate AI with your business. It is so simple to integrate these days. So now what we'll do is, I'm just going to quickly show you a few demos, people, right? So of how AI can actually be created in order to enrich the experience that you're giving to your customers, in order to strengthen the middle of the funnel specifically. So when we say AI, it's not just a ChatGPT or not just a Gemini or a Perplexity or a Claude model that is working, right? So I'm going to quickly shift focus to a few platforms with which you can actually enrich the customer experience. So I'm going to quickly talk about a particular tech called Soul Machines, people, right? So this comes under an umbrella called as the digital human technology, where you can create solutions like this. So you can actually create AI assistants with which your customers can interact with, and this has immense potential for replacing your entire sales funnel. So you can create assistants, custom create assistants like this. Like for example, here you can see that on this particular platform, you have a variety of AI agents which have been created. So I'm just going to quickly show you how this looks like, and then you can think about how you can integrate it for your job, right? So I'm going to randomly pick a particular AI agent. So, okay, I'm just going to select this one, yeah? So this is Aisha. I'm going to say, talk to this agent. You can see that the agent is loading, and you can see that it is taking. So it's taking access of my microphone and it is also taking access of the video camera. Yeah. Hi, Alicia. You need to help me with a situation that I'm facing at work. A couple of my teammates are conflicting. How do I address this? Yeah, give me some recommendations on how I can manage this situation. Are there specific issues or behaviors that are causing the conflict? Look at the facial expression of this AI agent, people. Yeah. So one individual is threatening that he would kill the other individual. How should I take care of this situation? Did you see the facial expression change? Yeah. Did you see the facial expression change? Yeah. So it's okay, all right. So it gave a response, but then what we are talking about is essentially people, an AI agent that can actually mimic human emotions via facial expressions. It's not just a chatbot that an individual is talking with, but then you get responses, and at the same time, you also get facial expressions which are contextual to the conversation that is happening with a human, right? So an emotional connect is well established when you use a tech like this, and it is so easy to create a bot like this, right? So I'm going to show you a studio on which we can create a bot like this, right? So let's say that I want to create a bot that's similar to the one that we just saw, right? So you don't need to code. You basically need a tool that helps you prompt certain actions with which you can create a bot. Yeah. Okay, so you can see that there is a AI agent which can be created. You can choose their behavior. You have a variety of behavior options. You can also prompt it in a specific way. So if I go to this generative conversation base, you can see here that we are just giving a prompt on what is the need for this particular bot and what is the purpose of this bot. Here you say that your role is to welcome visitors on a website you are deployed onto and assist them with finding certain things that they are looking on their website, etc. So here in natural language, we can actually create a full-fledged implementable AI which mimics a human in terms of conversations and in terms of emotions, people. Just by creating a prompt like this in natural language, you can actually create a bot like this, and this can be directly deployed onto your mobile application. It can be directly deployed onto your website, which helps you in engaging your audience better. And in the digital space, engagement directly relates to conversions, people, right? So engagement directly leads to conversion, and you can custom train it based on certain URLs. Like for example, you may have your frequently asked questions, you may have your terms and conditions, you may have your policies, you may have your product descriptions. So all of them can be actually integrated directly as knowledge URLs, and you can create bots like this so that it contextually responds based on the knowledge that it is actually trained on, right? So that's something that you can certainly consider as a part of your business. So another thing is, see, one thing that we have been conversing about is on how to create linkages between different activities, right? So activities that you're doing on social media, activities that you're doing on paid advertising, so likewise a wide range of other activities. So what happens is, for creating linkages, but more importantly, automating certain processes, right? So automating certain processes are something that is very important, and for automating you have a variety of other platforms as well. Like for example, here I have a platform called N8N, right? So this platform is called as N8N. So you have a few other platforms that are for marketing automation and AI based automation as well. So what this platform typically does is, it helps you in connecting a variety of different elements. Like for example, here there is a simple workflow. There is no coding whatsoever that's involved here, people, right? So there is a simple workflow which I've created, and you can see here that, let's say that on your website you have a form that an individual is going to fill, right? So an individual is going to fill a form. Let's say that you are into some software as a service business, and let's say that an individual comes to the website and they register a query. So what this will do is, it's going to add that query directly to a Google Sheet, and then an AI agent is going to work on that query. right? So an AI agent is going to work on that query, and the way this AI agent is designed is one, of course, you have an open AI model that is supporting this agent. But if I look into this particular agent, you can see that we typically prompt it, right? So here also you can see that there is a prompt. So if I just maximize this, yeah, here also you can see that there is a prompt. We state what is the role of this AI agent, what the agent should do, what they should not do, what is their tone, what sort of details you need to include. We have just prompted it in a specific way, right? And then what happens is, when you integrate it with your website, then what happens is something like this could happen. See, on your websites or even your social media posts, etc., whenever an individual comments or whenever they raise a query, what happens is they raise the query, it stops at that, and they have to wait for many hours for a sales team to actually get in touch with them, right? So in that period of time, what happens is your customers feel nervous, they want to make contact with your business, but they're not able to do so, right? So it would be nice if an AI agent is able to solve this particular issue. Let's say that it sends an email to your client stating that this is the issue that you have raised. This could be a solution to this issue. Our sales team will get in touch with you, right? So when an automated system like this is working for you, then what happens is you get to engage your audience much better, right? So like if I just execute this workflow, right? Okay, so here you can see that there is a form that comes. Again, this is just for testing. This form can be integrated onto your website as well, and it can be dynamically held. Okay, so now let's say that I given my details, yeah? So I'm just gonna give an email, and I'm just gonna give a random phone number. And let's say that I describe my problem. I say that I have some billing related issues on my SaaS tool. Something like this, yeah? And you just submit it, your customer submits it, and then what happens is you can see that a row is added to your Google Sheet or your CRM databases, anything can be connected. You can see that the AI has processed this particular query, and you will see that an email would have been sent. Let me just go to my email. So I'm on my email, and if I just refresh, yeah, you can see that an email has actually come, right? So you can see that it was just sent 1:47 p.m. and you can see that it has done some fundamental analysis stating that your issues are associated with so and so reasons, and it says that there are some billing related issues. It could be because of certain reasons, and then you can reach out to us on this particular phone number. We will also reach out to you in order to solve this issue, right? So something like this can very well be created, and not let your customer wait, and you let them know that you are actually working on the issues that they have actually raised. And this can be for the leads that you're generating. It can be with respect to your customer service. A variety of applications can actually be built, right? So that's one. Another is people. So it would be interesting if, let us say that instead of just sending an email, right? So we sent an email sometime back, but instead of just sending an email, it would be interesting if a customer raises a set of points, and these points can be directly responded to by a bot. So let's say that someone on your website comes, registers a query, they give their phone number, they give their email ID. Instead of just sending an email ID, if a bot gives a call directly to that phone number in order to get in order to get details and also assess the situation, address it if necessary, that would be interesting, right? So that is also something that you can certainly do. So here again, I'm on N8N, on-form submission is there. So this is gonna integrate with another API, people, right? So, and that API is Retail. So Retail is an API where you can create voice-based agents, right? So your customer registers a query, rather than waiting for a sales agent to call back, an immediate call goes from an AI agent, right? And this AI agent can be configured using this particular tool called Retail, and you will be able to see that here again, you can see that just a prompt is given as an input, right? So just a prompt is given as an input. You have a language model that is working on it. You can select a variety of language models. You can select a variety of voices as well. You have a lot of voices which you can select, and more importantly, multilingual, people, right? So it's not just in English, right? So we can talk to this particular bot in Malayalam, we can talk to it in Hindi, Tamil, whatever language it has been actually trained on, and it can switch between languages, right? So you basically prompt it. So here you can see that I've said that you are a medical assistant bot that faces the customer. Your objective is to diagnose possible conditions or diseases based on customer interaction. So let's say that you are in the hospital business, right? So this is something that can help quite a bit. So this bot is hooked here using something called as a webhook. It's configured on the other platform, but then it is integrated onto an N8N platform. And it would look something like this, people, right? So for this demo, maybe one of you can actually participate. So one of you will probably need to give your phone number, and we'll see how this bot gives a call to you. Yeah, and with that, we will close. So let me just execute this workflow. So who wants to volunteer for this, people? Yeah? Yes, please, can you come to the stage maybe? Yeah? Yes. Yeah, let's give a warm applause. Yes, thank you. Do we have another mic? Yes, thank you. Okay, so can you give your details, please? Doctor? Spelling? Double A-B. E-B, okay, Najib, okay. All right, so I'm just going to give my email. .com. Okay, so Dr. Najib, can we have your phone number, please? 70 127 25 176. So let's assume that. So I'm just going to give a query. I'll just say that I have a fever, and then the bot is going to give you a call. Yeah, I have a fever. Yeah, okay, all right. So I'm just going to say get call. Form is submitted. So see if you're getting a call, Dr. Najir. You will have to wait for a minute or so, a few seconds. Yes, you'll have to put it on speaker.
Hello, thank you for calling. How can I assist you with your health concerns today? Tell me about the symptoms you're experiencing.
My body is paining.
I'm sorry to hear that you are experiencing body pain. To help narrow down the possible causes, could you please answer a few questions?
Yes.
Where exactly is the pain located? It again, neck, back, joints, muscles, all over. 2, how long have you been experiencing this pain? 3, is the pain constant or does it come and go? 4, do you have any other symptoms such as fever, fatigue, swelling, or stiffness? 5, have you had any recent injuries,
Good answer.
or changes in activity?
Okay. It's all over the body.
Thank you for sharing that your pain is all over your body. To help you better, I need a bit more information. 1, how long have you been experiencing this pain? 2, is the pain
2 days.
severe or mild? Sí. Hola, veo que prefieres hablar en español. Para poder ayudarte mejor, ¿me puedes decir desde cuándo tienes?
Okay, I think it changed the language. Can you converse in English, please?
Absolutely, I can continue in English. Since you have body pain all over, here are 3 possible conditions that could cause this. 1, viral infection, like the flu or COVID-19. Body aches are common, often with fever, fatigue, or sore throat. 2, fibromyalgia. This causes widespread muscle pain, fatigue, and sometimes sleep or mood issues. 3, muscle strain or overexertion. If you've done physical activity recently, this could cause general body pain.
Not done.
Treatment and medication options.
Okay, all right, so we got some idea. Yeah, you can probably cut the call, yeah? Okay, thank you, Dr. Najir, for participating. See, something like this you can build for your business as well. So immediately as you receive a lead, a bot calls, and when you're creating the bot, you can actually have humans in the loop. You can also gather initial information from the bot so that later on your physical teams can call. So now what happens is you're not letting your clients or potential clients hang there just for your sales team to call. But then you have initiated a point of contact via a bot like this. Thereby the experience of your customer itself improves. Later on what happens is the possibility of conversion is also on the high side, right? So this sort of tech can certainly be integrated in order to engage your clients better. So here I do have a framework of how a human, AI and automation can actually integrate quite well. So let me just maximize this. All right. So strategy from human side, what sort of strategy? From AI side, what needs to be done? Or from automation perspective, what all could be done? So everything is integrated here. So this specifically focuses on how you can improve your marketing via a human, AI, and automation integration. Yeah. So on top of this, people, one aspect that I want to talk about before we close is the brand equity aspect, right? So while all these tools can help us identify the right audience for us, bring them back to your platforms or on your mobile applications, and some of them would convert, you would engage them better with AI and automation. What matters the most is the services or the products that we offer. So this has to basically adhere to the expectations that they have, right? So there is a theory in marketing called as the expectation confirmation theory. And it says that your customers will have some expectations. You will have your products and services that conform to those expectations. If there is a match, they are going to be satisfied. And in order to facilitate that particular match, on the components of the brand equity framework, you need to focus on one element called as the perceived quality, right? And perceived quality is something that we achieve over time by significantly providing results which are consistent, right? So consistent results over time needs to be produced for your customers. So that's something that you need to focus on. For all the other elements, you do have digital tools that can help you directly. Digital tools do help you to exponentially grow your business, because we did talk about something called lookalike audiences some time back, right? So once you have your first 100 customers, you can certainly use all these digital tools in order to significantly grow from the 100 customers to 1,000 to a 10,000, 10,000 to a million. So that's very much possible using digital tools. But then you need to understand the constraints that you have with respect to capacity, right? So we can generate thousands of leads on a daily basis, but is your business equipped to handle all these leads? And if they convert, will you be able to provide service, or you have the inventory for your goods in order to deliver it to your customers? That's a question that you need to ask before investing exponentially on marketing. That's something that's very important. So you do see on digital media that a lot of businesses do post all forms of content. Some content goes viral, and all these businesses get so much amount of leads, and at the end of the day, they are not able to service those leads, right? So that's something that you need to look into. So while investing in digital marketing, you need to understand how much of your digital efforts is going to result in how much of performance, and based on the performance, will you be able to cater to that performance? Again, when I say performance, it's nothing but getting number of leads or purchases, etc. So proportionately allocating your efforts and funds into digital marketing by understanding the amount of leads or amount of business you are going to get, and whether you have capacity to address that business, is something that is very important as well. Okay, so that's the brand equity framework, and that's about it, people. It was a pleasure interacting with all of you. Would be happy to take a few questions. Since we are running out of time, maybe we can connect on LinkedIn, and then later on, if you have any questions, we'll be happy to respond, people. Yeah, so wishing all your businesses the absolute best in implementing AI-related tech, AI-related solutions, and more importantly, leveraging on the digital landscape and the digital marketing aspects for you to exponentially grow your business. All the very best, everyone. Thank you so much.
Kind of. So, is there any questions? Yes. There.
Yes.
Hi, am I audible? Okay.
Yes.
So we are into event tech. We have a SaaS product.
Okay.
So these days we are getting more leads from where there's a ChatGPT and all.
Okay.
So we are not intentionally doing something to get leads from there, but by organically we are getting more leads. So do you have? Can you please show more insights on that? Whether we have to focus more particularly on something to get more traction from these platforms.
Okay, great question. See, so organically you are getting leads via different platforms, Google Search and ChatGPT as well, is it? Okay, wonderful. So this is very interesting. See, so right now you're getting a lot of leads. So let's say that you have the capacity to handle all the leads, yeah? And let's say that these leads are also sales qualified, and you are getting the necessary output that you want in terms of your sales. And let's say that you want to exponentially grow in order to reach out to the audience that are similar to the ones that you're getting right now, right? So what you need to do is you need to create a data pipeline. You need to integrate your leads that you're getting from ChatGPT or any organic mediums for that matter directly onto a Google Ads or a Meta Ads for that matter, right? So integrate all the data that you're getting into the remarketing. So you have something called as an audience manager on Google Ads, right? So integrate all your leads directly onto your audience manager. And once you do that, let's say that you want to scale up, you want to get similar leads like what you're getting now, but these people are, let's say, not searching for your business or not searching for solutions that your business is offering. So you need to create something called as a performance marketing campaign, right? So there is a separate campaign component on Google Ads called performance marketing, where the objective of this campaign is that it takes a signal as an input, right? And it brings you a wider audience that matches this particular signal. And this signal is nothing but your existing audience. They may come from a similar demography, similar interests, similar behaviors they will have. So all of this is extracted from your existing customers or existing leads that you're getting. And you simply fund this performance marketing campaign and you'll be able to get a lot more people just like the ones that you're already having, right? So that's something that you will definitely need to do, and every business has to do, right? So unless we track this data of our existing customers, existing leads onto a platform like, let's say, Google Ads or a Meta, then what happens is you can't necessarily grow your business from the 100 to 1,000 to a 1,000, right? So that's something that you can start by focusing on, and then later on you can move on to running performance marketing campaigns or look-like audiences can be used on a platform like Meta. That's something that you can certainly do.